been trying to ask people along the way is, what does a border mean to you?
What does a border mean to me? That is a good question.
You got to start with the understanding that the border is 2,000 miles long. So when somebody says, what does that area look like? They're talking about complete diversity of geographical locations. Going way back, there was no border. The tribes may have had territorial issues with one another, but there was no delineated line. The border is something that came with the Europeans later. Once there's two distinct countries with two distinct sets of laws, one would think there would be radical changes. But if you read about and look back, these were still homogeneous communities. The people who lived there, they had family on both sides of the border, they had business deals on both sides of the border. The border at that time was an imaginary line, but it's starting to change, and it's a slow change. By the 90s, illegal immigration is really high.
Anyway, so I'm gonna go back. So we did so many different projects, you know, and you can see our in-depth coverage. I worked for 7.5, 8 months on this project, and it was intensely brutal because you are going there kind of running and gunning, but our reporter Daniel Gonzalez did a fantastic job, like finding stories. We even interviewed smugglers, you know, how they do it, and let me see if I can find it.
Dice que va a ver si puede encontrar una específica parte del proyecto donde él cubrió con el reportero Daniel González, el periódico. Y dicen que todos estos eran muchos diferentes proyectos, ¿no? Y que duraron, todo esto para terminar, todo lo que hicieron fue 7 a 8 meses. Dijo, intenso, era intenso y brutalmente intenso. Dice, hacer todo este trabajo. Pero que pues se hizo todo este trabajo por todo el equipo y los reporteros, los fotógrafos que hicieron esto posible.
And this is the story we did. Following the sister, her brother was lost, and he died basically. So she was.
We went out into the desert on June 26th.
She tried and tried, and anyway. But we followed her journey, so...
Esta es una historia de una señora que está tratando de encontrar a su brother?
Yes.
Su hermano en el desierto, y pues nunca lo terminó de encontrar, ¿no? Y que nos dio acceso a esa historia y la persiguieron para pues, su jornada, ¿no? Que estaba dando al desierto.
So I'm going to show you the still photos now. I have like several different projects in there. Let's start with this.
Les voy a enseñar varias fotos del proyecto. Tengo varios, estoy viendo cuáles enseñarles.
Okay. So this was my interpretation. This was a rape tree. Can you imagine? So smugglers, they used this tree to rape women, and they were putting gloves and their underwears as like, you know, they had won some kind of trophy, which was very sick. But how you can show this, I guess atrocity might be a right word, but how can you show, so I needed to be gentle, but at least to the point of artistic way of the gruesome things were happening at the border. Yeah.
Dice que esta era su interpretación de un evento, ¿no? O específicamente un lugar donde es un árbol literalmente, donde llegan y los coyotes y la gente y pues acusan a mujeres, las violan, ¿no? Es un árbol de violación, y que encuentras pares de calzones, de cosas pues íntimas, ¿no? Personales de mujeres puestas en el árbol, y él con mucho cuidado quiso hacerlo una interpretación artística, pero enseñando la realidad de lo que pasó, ¿no? De lo que pasa ahí, ¿no? Diario y con esta gente, ¿no?
So this is the part of the human smuggling stories.
Esta es parte de historias humanitarias donde...
I'm going to go a little faster, but if you think if I'm going a little too fast, you guys are going to scream because I cannot see you.
Dice que si estoy yendo muy rápido que griten porque no los puede ver, que digan algo.
So that's a smuggler. He didn't want to show his face, and I understand, but it was, at least he talked to us. That was the important story, and he gave every each and detail how they smuggled.
Esa es una foto de un coyote que obviamente no quiere enseñar su cara.
How they smuggle humans, I just want to make sure.
Y también cómo se llevan a gente en la frontera, ¿no? Pero de perdida nos dejó hablar con él, ¿no?
Just the street border stuff.
Fotos de callejeras de la frontera.
Somebody just crossed, and there was a ladder, and I was just happened to be so lucky. I woke up at 6 a.m. and I saw this.
Me levanté a las 6 de la mañana y vi esta escena. Alguien quiso cruzar, tuvieron una escalera que pusieron para cruzar, y que se levantó a las 6 de la mañana y vio esto y le tomó una foto. Tuve mucha suerte, dijo.
So sleepless night helps. Sleepless night helps.
Dice que dormir sleepless?
Sleepless.
Like you can't sleep?
Yeah.
Dice que una noche sin dormir ayuda. Dice.
This was here in Tijuana.
Esto fue aquí en Tijuana, esa foto.
This is in Ajo. Ajo.
Esto es en Ajo.
Ohio.
And believe me, I walked 8 hours with the sister, the one I'm going to be showing you the work, and literally we had like 2 or 3 gallons of water, but I thought last 30 minutes I ran out of water because I started drinking more, and one of my teammates was like, well, you have to ration your water. So just imagine somebody's walking with a 1 gallon and they have no clues where they were going. At least we knew because we had a guide with us.
Dice que en la historia que después les va a enseñar sobre la señora que está tratando de buscar a su hermano en el desierto, dicen que pues tenían muy pocos recursos, que ellos tenían 2 a 3 litros de agua, ¿no? Tomando en el desierto, que fue muy difícil, y dice que había un punto donde Nick ya no tuvo